Okay, I think we are live. Hello, world. On tonight's episode, I'm going to do my spoiler-free review of It Feeds. I don't know if you're aware, but April 16th was National Canadian Film Day. So, in commemoration of that, I'm going to review the movie and then talk about my top 5 Canadian horror movies. But before we get to that, let's roll the intro, shall we? Live from Niagara Falls, it's Mr. FLIXTER Show on Saturday night. Three, two, one, and here we go. Thank you for clicking on my video. Hello, world. I'm Chris Maitini, aka Mr. FLIXTER. Mr. FLIXTER. Okay, let's get the comments up. Okay, so before we get into the main topic, I just want to touch on a little bit of movie news, and then I want to do a brief little follow-up to last week's episode. So I have good news and I have bad news. Might as well start with the bad news. Like a Band-Aid, right off. In case you didn't know, it's been a sad day for Friday the 13th fans. Because, unfortunately, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but Laura Park Lincoln passed away on April 22nd, 2025, at the age of 63. She was born on May 12th, 1961. But there's been no official cause of death yet. It hasn't been released. So let's just have a moment of silence for Laura Park Lincoln. Thank you. She's probably most well known for being Tina in Friday the 13th Part 7. That was also the first one that had Kane Hodder as Jason. So I'll just take a second, now that I know how to share my screen, and I'll pull up her IMDb page. Where is it? Right here. Let's just remove this one first. That would help. Add. Okay. So let's go new tab. IMDb. Because when somebody like this passes away, she deserves to be mentioned. So I'll just go into a little bit of her work. Aside from Friday the 13th, of course. Let's just go down a little more. What is this? Go away. Known for. Okay. She was in Ghost Party. She was in the TV series Knots Landing. This was probably a fan-made film. Roseblood. She reprised her role as Tina. I'm actually just learning about this. That's pretty cool. And then we have credits. So here's a few of the things that she was in more recently. Autumn Road. 13 Fanboys, probably another fan-made film. Oh, she was in 2. That's awesome. Expulsion, Spy Sharks, Harvest, The Dancer. Yeah, Gravestone, From the Dark, Spectre Mom. So there's an idea. You can see she was working consistently. Oh, she was even on Beverly Hills 90210 for one episode. Who knew? So yeah, that's a little bit about Lara Park Lincoln. So let's go back. And remove. Here I am. So I'm assuming that worked. If not, that's okay. If that worked, please let me know in the comments. And then I can move on. Because this week there was a death, but there was also a birth. So I'll get to that in 1 second. And then I'll do a follow-up to last week's episode. Last week I reviewed A Working Man. Okay, yeah, my sister just confirmed that she heard what I said. Thank you very much. Yeah, Sabrina says it worked too. Awesome. Yes. All right, we're rocking now. All right, but there's also a birthday. So let's talk about that, shall we? Carol Burnett had her birthday on April 26th. She was born in 1933. She is 92, not was. She's still alive. She's 92. Sorry about that. I had to go with the classic picture for this one. So happy birthday, Carol Burnett. Let's do the same thing and go to her IMDb real quick. Just because this is fun. I like that I can do this now. So we're sad to see you go, Lara Park Lincoln. I was devastated when I heard that. I couldn't believe it. I had to talk about it. See if I can spell her name right, because I can never do it. Carol Burnett. Oh, space. Burnett. Did I do it right? I did. Sweet. All right, here we go. As you can see, she's aged well. One of my personal favorite roles was Annie. But she's done so much. So let's go down to the credits. Here we go. Oh, so she's in that new Hack show. I haven't seen that, but I've heard good things. I'm kind of skeptical about the new Frasier, but we'll see how that goes. She was in Palm Royale. Something called Burples. Oh, she was in Better Call Saul. That's right. Charles Holiday in Harmony. I didn't see that one. All Together Now. Oh, she was in That About You. Oh, that's right. I remember that now. She was in Toy Story 4. I didn't know that. We're all learning here. But yeah, she's had a long career. Obviously, there was the Carol Burnett show. I think I just dated myself. Curious George. Oh, she was in All My Children for 6 episodes. That's cool. Horton Hughes of Who. Something called Once Upon a Mattress. Putting It Together. Trumpet and the Swan. Yeah, you can see there's a lot of things here. So many things. What a legend. There it is. That's what I was looking for. 82. Cool. I wasn't sure what year that came out. Mrs. Hannigan. Of course, there's been other versions of Annie, but she's always going to be Mrs. Hannigan to me. So yeah, happy birthday, Carol Burnett. Okay, I'm back. Let's go to the comments, shall we? Beth says, roles can make a career like that. Yeah, totally. Even if you're not familiar with her name, if I showed you that picture, people who like horror movies, especially Friday the 13th, be like, oh, yeah, her. And then Sabrina says, I like Carol Burnett in Mama's Family. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention that one. Thank you. That was a good one, too. Okay, so let's do a brief little follow-up to last week's episode, shall we? Because last week I reviewed A Working Man with Jason Statham. And the week before that, I reviewed The Wolfman. So I just want to talk about the weekend box office and what I like to call the weekend box office update. You see what I did there? So hold on before I do that. Let's share the screen again. Let's get a new tab going. Let's go to Box Office Mojo. Box Office Mojo. Here we go. Now, this is going to be for last weekend, obviously, because, well, this weekend's not finished yet. So let's see. Oh, that's the box office so far for yesterday. Let's see. Weekend. Here we go. Now we're rolling. Sorry, it took me a second. Here we go. April 18th to the 21st. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Let's go back. April 11th to the 13th. I think that's right. Yeah, because today's 26th. No, that 21st. No, I was right. 7 days ago. Okay. So these are the top 10 movies for last week. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, I reviewed a Minecraft movie. And it made, well, the number one movie was Sinners at 55.8 million. 2 was a Minecraft movie at 46.1 million. It's made $349.5 million so far. So again, I'm sticking with my prediction. I think it's going to make $1 billion. Then the new animated film King of Kings made 19.6 million. This is making a lot of money too. This is becoming some sort of a sleeper hit with 47.7 million. Wow. Then number 4, we have The Amateur with another 7 million. This one's hanging in there, but it's got mixed reviews, so I haven't seen it yet, but I am looking forward to it. I do like Rami Malek. This made $27.9 million so far. So, yeah, it's hanging in there. We got Warfare at 5. Drop is number 6. That's the reason why I reviewed The Wolfman, because Drop released that weekend. I wasn't able to see that one, but I was able to see The Wolfman. It's on VOD. That made $3.7 million. And so far, it's got $13 million. So that's pretty good, too, considering the budget for that one. And it's still on 3,000 screens, so I think that's going to make back what they spent, definitely. Let's go a little further down. Pride and Prejudice re-release. I didn't know that was out. That made $3.2 million, really? Is there that much of a demand for Pride and Prejudice? I guess so. 8 is A Colorful Stage, the movie. A Miku Who Can't Sing. I think that's an anime, but don't quote me on that. That's 2.8 mil. That's what it's made so far. 9 is The Chosen, The Last Supper Part 3. 1.7 mil. That's made 11.1 so far. That's pretty good. And then Snow White is hanging in there. I did a live stream like 4 weeks ago to celebrate my 100th, over 100 subscribers. And I kind of ranted about Snow White. It's hanging in there. It's still top 10, but it's only in 1,650 theaters. It keeps dropping its number of theaters. And it's only made $84.8 million. So I doubt this one is going to make its money back. And here we go. The Working Man just got squeaked out by Snow White. Look at that. It made $1.3 million. It's still in over almost 2,000 theaters, so that's pretty good. And it made $36 million so far. So I don't think that one's going to make back its money either. So unfortunately, I hope that makes more money. We'll see how much longer that one sticks around in theaters for. So let's go back to StreamYard, shall we? That's the website that most YouTubers use for streaming live streams. No, that's not the right window. Oh, no. Go down. Yeah, here we go. Remove. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so let's get to tonight's main topic, shall we? Because April 16th was also the world premiere for It Feeds. It was written and directed by Chad Archibald. It stars Ashley Greene, Ellie O'Brien, Sean Ashmore, Juno Rinaldi, sorry if I butchered that, Shaylin Martin, Brooklyn Marshall, and Sarah Garcia. And it was filmed in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So to give people a perspective who aren't familiar with the geography of the area, Niagara Falls is about an hour away from Hamilton. And then Hamilton is about an hour and a half away from Toronto, depending on how fast you drive. So really close to home. That's kind of the point. All these movies that I'm going to talk about later on are made by are made in Canada by Canadians. So it's not so much about the cast involved. It's more about who made the movie and where it was made. Okay. Let's get to the review. Frozen. Okay. So here's the synopsis according to IMDb. When a young girl bursts through the door of the clairvoyance, Cynthia and her daughter Jordan, trying to escape from a powerful spirit feeding on her, they meet their worst nightmare, despite protest of the girl's father, Randall. If they get drawn into the fight against the evil force, can they get out alive? So, I thought this movie was really interesting because it takes the stereotypical demon possession movie and it puts a new spin on it. It doesn't really go the way that I thought it would go, but again, this is going to be spoiler free, so I'm not going to get too much of it. This movie is brand new, so it's on limited release now. I can see if it's on video on demand. One moment. It feeds VOD. Yep. It's on VOD and, well, it was released on April 18th wide on VOD. And the screening started on the 16th. So, oh yeah, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. There you go. Stuff like that's easy to look up. But yeah, tonight mainly I want to focus on Canadian cinema. And I'm going to start with this one. Because I was pleasantly surprised. I wrote a review for this movie on Horror Buzz. So after the show, I'll put a link in the description to that if you're interested in reading a little more in depth about it. And through Horror Buzz, we were able to get a screener. So I was able to get an advanced copy of it. So I want to thank Horror Buzz for reaching out to Black Fawn Distribution. And I want to thank Black Fawn Distribution for giving them the screener to make this possible. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate that. I should mention, I'm a writer for horrorbuzz.com. So if you want to read my reviews, I'll put a link for that too. So the story is structured at a very brisk pace, but it never feels rushed. Excuse me. That's what keeps it interesting. The plot never dips into the mundane, and it doesn't go, like I said, in the way that you thought. I had to rephrase what I was saying because I almost gave something away, but I don't want to do that. But I did have a slight issue because there's not really a whole lot of context for who certain characters are especially this evil entity that is like the main focus of the whole movie. But I do like how they barely show the monster. I always prefer when they show less. And the creature makeup is pretty good. I really like practical effects makeup. I prefer that over CGI. So I'm glad they went that route. I just need a drink, excuse me. As you can see, I have my Canadian Pride stuff on. Do you like my hat? And I got my generic hockey jersey because I'm not really a sports fan. Shocker, I know. Otherwise, I'd have a sports channel. But anyways, let's get back to the movie. Well, I don't like massive exposition dumps. I do like to know a little bit about what's going on or a little bit about the backstories of certain characters. So I don't want to be left completely in the dark. Give me a little bit. That is nice. Especially if your main focus is this evil entity and it's not fully defined, which is fine. I mean, look at Blair Witch Project. That's one of the things I complained about Smile 2, and I keep complaining about. They showed the monster way too much, and I thought that looked kind of silly. But at least they kind of keep this one in the dark, and when they do finally do show the monster, because obviously they're going to show it, I thought it looked pretty good. I love the cinematography for this movie. It looks sleek. This has a high production value. It looks so good. The scenes are dark, but not too dark so that you can't see anything. And the other scenes in between the scary parts aren't so brightly lit that it feels like it's in a different movie. Sometimes that contrast is distracting. I love the sound design too, because it plays around with ambient noises and it plays around with having to listen for certain things. And some of these scenes, the way they play out, it's really cool what they do with the sound. Again, a minor complaint that I have is how they do some of the jump scares, because in my opinion, they do the cheap jump scare. That's when it's really quiet for a few moments. Then all of a sudden, there's a loud musical cue. That's not scaring people. You're startling them with a loud noise. I mean, that's kind of cheap. I prefer suspense over surprise, like the old Alfred Hitchcock adage. Basically, the way he describes it is there's two men sitting at a table in a cafe, and underneath them, unknown to them, there's a bomb counting down. So the surprise is if you film the scene and all of a sudden the bomb just goes off without warning. Suspense is when it keeps showing the timer for the clock as the conversation is going on and it leads up to that explosion. See the difference? Now, don't get me wrong, this movie does do that too sometimes. There's scenes where the camera will pan around the room. It'll focus on one character, but it'll go one way and then it'll come back. And you'll slowly see something in the shadows emerging. That's the kind of stuff I like, because there was no music, nothing like that. You have to watch for it. So if you paid attention, you see it. And it's like, whoa, whoa, turn around, turn around. Like I like when movies do that. Oh, we have a comment here. Let's see. Where's my mouse? There it is. Show. I'm getting more comfortable with this interface too. Apparently, I've been talking to other YouTubers and they changed around StreamYard a lot. So it has been a while since I've done it, but I'm getting used to what's here. I don't really like it. But whatever, you got to work with it, right? Where's my mouse? Okay, so my sister says, oh, wait, what's this? Why did I zoom in? Okay, cheap jump scares are weak sauce, eh? Oh, totally. What is going on with my computer? Okay. One moment, please. My mouse is lagging on me, and I zoomed in on my screen, and I don't know. Oh, here we go. Okay. I don't know what I did, but I did it. So, yeah, go me. Okay, yeah, I agree. I don't like when they do cheap jump scares like that. It kind of ruins the experience for me. But some people like that stuff. I do like being scared by jump scares, but you have to earn it. You know what I mean? Suspense versus surprise. That's what I always say. If it's good enough for Hitchcock, it's good enough for me. So yeah, Archibald is really good at creating this atmospheric tension because there's some scenes that kind of remind me of those scenes in The Further from Insidious, and it's really cool how they do it. The way that the darkness is, it's shadowed but not too shadowed. You can even make out some stuff that's moving around in the darkness. It's really interesting the way they do. Very unique filmmaking. And the story talks about some truly terrifying experiences too. Maybe I shouldn't get into it too much, but certain things people are afraid of, like being buried alive or like losing your child. Stuff like that might get to certain people, but stuff like that is horrifying if you think about it. That is one of my fears. It might be illogical, but I would hate to be buried alive. It's like that Ryan Reynolds movie. I forget what it's called. It might just be called Buried, but basically it's just him in a coffin trying to get out. Or like that scene in Kill Bill with the bride where she wakes up in the coffin. Oh, that would be awful. So the entire cast in this movie is exceptional. Like I said, Ashley Greene is Cynthia. She's very believable at being a mom that's willing to do whatever it takes in order to save her daughter. Because her daughter gets involved with this spirit and she accidentally gets attached to it. So it's a matter of trying to save her before it's too late. Excuse me. Let me just get a drink real quick. And the daughter, Jordan, she's played by Ellie O'Brien. She's really good at being a strong, independent woman, but because of her age, she still has that naivete to her. She's also got this sense of entitlement to her too, I'd say. But stuff like that, it just kind of comes with age. And her chemistry with the mom is incredible. They're really good together. Like I really believe that they were this mother-daughter dynamic, which is always great. You got to have good chemistry. You can't fake stuff like that. And then Shawn Ashmore, he plays Randall. He's kind of the villain in this, which is fun because usually he plays the hero. I mean, I think his most famous role would probably be Iceman from the X-Men, but he's been in a bunch of other stuff since then. And he's really good. I didn't know he could be so creepy or so menacing. So kudos to him for that. Love Shawn Ashmore. And then Juno Rinaldi is Agatha. She's Cynthia's friend. And she's really good at the comic relief. She'll just say things, and I just couldn't help but laugh out loud. So she's the one who brings the levity to the film. You got to have a good comic relief in movies like these. Just sort of break the tension. And in my opinion, that's how you can relate to characters more with that sense of humor. When you're laughing with the character, you feel like you're getting to know them a lot better. You feel closer to them. That's how friends work, right? The more you laugh and joke with friends, the more comfortable you are around them. I think it works like that with anybody. And then Riley was played by Shaylin Martin. Sorry if I butchered that. So the movie she's like the inciting incident. She's the one who has the entity attached to her initially. And then it just kind of goes from there. So she's really good at being this tortured soul. Like I really believe all the stuff that she was going through and the prosthetics for like her arms and stuff like that, because she has like these scars. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, that was really good. Her acting is really good. She's so believable. I know it's really hard for actresses, especially the young ones, to play more dramatic roles when you're crying a lot. But when you can do it and you pull it off, it makes the experience even better. And the creature was actually played by two people, Brooklyn Marshall and Sarah Garcia. And like I said, the practical effects for this are so impressive. When you get the makeup right like that, I think it really enhances the fright when it comes to movies like this. The experience is really creepy. And then as they do a little more reveals here and there, you keep saying a little bit more. But like I said, they do a good job of keeping the shadows for the most part. I think that whole bait and switch thing is the best way to do a movie. You don't want to just outright show the monster right away. Even a werewolf movie or a vampire movie, you got to build up to it. You got to earn it. And this one is really good at that. So, overall, this is a first take on the exorcism films. This is the first take on the creature feature films. I don't necessarily seek out exorcism movies. They're not really for me. I tend to avoid them when they come out. So if I come across one, I'm always willing to give it a chance, obviously. That's what film critics do. If I come across one and it blows me away like this, it's really saying something. But you gotta bring that new spin on it. That's key. I just have a few minor issues, like lacking crucial information about what the entity is exactly. And then there's also little information about some of these other side characters too. Like I would have liked to know more about Randall and the daughter and that relationship. I would have liked to know a little bit more about Agatha. And then there's a few other characters too. So, not too much. You got to keep the runtime brisk and you got to keep the pacing brisk too. I understand that, but it's all part of character development. It's all storytelling, right? So again, minor complaint. This doesn't ruin the experience or anything like that, because this movie is certainly an entertaining cinematic experience, indubitably. Sometimes plot contrivances can be overlooked when you're having fun with the movie, especially when it's so enthralling like this, and you're not even checking your watch or your phone or anything like that as the movie's going on. It's great when movies don't feel like the runtime that they are. I've watched 90-minute movies and it felt like 3 hours. Similarly, I've watched 3-hour movies and it's felt only like 90 minutes. Except for Titanic. That was awful. I don't like Titanic. So yeah, things I do like. I like the directing. I like the atmospheric tone. I like the cinematography. The writing is crisp. It's sharp. Sometimes characters do dumb things to keep the plot moving forward. But again, with young people, that naivete is there. And when someone tells you not to do something, you tend to do it. That's life. So things like that are a little more forgiving for. But I tell you, this movie is a really good time. I highly recommend It Feeds from 2025. Some movies it kind of reminds me of are Smile, It Follows, Hereditary, and Insidious. Sorry, I should have said the years. Smiles from 2022. It Follows is from 2014. Hereditary is from 2018. Yeah. And Insidious came out in 2010. There's 5 Insidious movies, but only 4 of them are good. And remember, when it comes to suspense versus surprise, it's bad if you're startled. It's worse if you're afraid. So, my official grade for It Feeds is large popcorn. There was a few minor deduction in points because of those minor complaints that I've had. But don't get me wrong, it's not a bad movie. This movie's awesome. I loved It Feeds. I can't wait to watch it again. And I highly recommend that you do. All right. So that is my review of It Feeds. So now, let's get into my top 5 Canadian horror movies, shall we? Oh, wait, I have a picture. Where is my picture? Okay, I gotta find this. 1 second. I thought I had this set up, but apparently not. Oh, my mouse is acting up again. 1 second. Oh, you probably lost me. Did you lose me? I think you lost me. No, it's not here. Oh my God. No, I didn't do that one. Okay, I'm back. Did you lose me? Oh, come on. I don't know why my mouse is being slow. Let's just close that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Oh, we got a comment here. So happy to hear so many good Canadian horror movies are out there. Yeah. So I did my research, and I watched a lot of Canadian horror movies this week. And some of these were first-time watches for me, so I was pleasantly surprised. Because you go into a movie knowing little to nothing, and it just completely blows you away. That's really saying something. So, let's start at the bottom, at number 5. I'll mention the first 4, kind of like what I did last week, and then I'll go through my honorable mentions. But I don't have as many this week. I'm trying to keep the episodes a little bit shorter, and we've already run for 35 minutes already. So, let's keep this party going, shall we? I got my notes here, and it's a drink, and we'll get started. Gotta have my coffee. Especially dark roast. I love dark roast coffee. Okay, so at number 5, I have In a Violent Nature from 2024. This might be a little bit higher on the list if it wasn't for recency bias. I'm taking that into account too, because this movie just came out and I had to rewatch it because it had been a while. It had been like a year since I'd seen it the first time. So I watched it with my sister and I watched it with my girlfriend too, and they both loved it. Separate times. Like when the first time I watched it was with my girlfriend, and then recently I watched it with my sister, and they both liked it. So basically, let's share the screen and let's go to Letterboxd. I love that I can do this now. I don't need this anymore. Okay, cool. Oh, there it is there. Letterboxd. Here we go. Search. And, oh, there it is. In a Violent Nature. Because I have all my reviews on Letterboxd too. And I did write a review for this one. So if you're interested in reading about this more in depth, it's there. There it is. In a Violent Nature. And let me tell you, this movie delivers on the violence and the nature. Let's see this poster. That's why I pulled up Letterboxd. Here we go. Beautiful poster. That's not actually the one I was thinking though, but that's great. I love that. The one I used for my collage was the black and white one. But anyways, here is the synopsis. Take 2. The enigmatic resurrection, rampage, and retribution of an undead monster in a remote wilderness unleashes an iconic new killer after the locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower that entombed his rotting corpse. So what I like about this movie especially is the way that it's filmed, because it's very similar to your average Friday the 13th movie or any cheap knockoff that's kind of like that. But unlike those movies, this one is from the perspective of the killer. So basically the whole time you're following him. So you see him come out of the ground, you see him walking through the woods. And the way that it's written is really clever too, because it's him overhearing other people's conversations. But they don't actually film the people talking all the time. It's very unconventional like that. And I thought it's really interesting. It's so cool the way they filmed it. I've never seen a movie done like this before. So that's why it's got the 5th spot. So as far as the cast and crew goes, it was written and directed by Chris Nash. It stars Rye Barrett, Andrea Pavlovic, sorry if I butchered that, Cameron Love, Reese Presley, and Lauren Taylor. And it was filmed in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. So again, to put that into perspective for people who aren't familiar with Canadian geography, That is in Northern Ontario. I think it's about 6 hours away or something like that, maybe more. It's pretty far away, but I thought that was interesting because that's where my dad grew up. And I've never actually been there before, and he always talked about how beautiful it was. So it was really cool to see that part of Canada. For me, at least. There's that personal touch. So yeah, that's In a Violent Nature. And the kills. I think this movie is probably most famous for the yoga kill, or maybe that the log splitting scene. Holy crap. Talk about practical effects. This is what I mean. When it comes to effects, you got to do stuff like that practical. CGI would just ruin that experience. So that is In a Violent Nature. And I heard there's a sequel coming out too. I don't know when. I think they're filming it in the summer. So yeah, I'm very curious where this character goes, the Johnny character. Because that's another thing too. It's interesting how they kind of almost humanize the Johnny character. You get to know his backstory through pictures, and he goes to, well, it doesn't really, well, other characters talk about him too, but Johnny goes to certain locations and he sees pictures, and then you kind of gather stuff through visual imagery. There's not a whole lot of exposition, but you have enough there. If Feeds could have did that too, that would have really enhanced the experience. But I still liked it. I didn't give it a bad review. As you can see here, I don't want to change it, but I gave it 4 stars. So that'd be equivalent of a large popcorn as well. I love In a Violent Nature. Okay, moving on. Oh wait, wrong tab. Here we go. Where am I? Here I am. Here I am. Rocking like a hurricane. Sorry. Okay, I had to. I hear certain phrases that I have to sing them. Get used to it. All right, what am I doing? Okay, at number 4. It's good to stay focused. This is another more recent movie. So that's why it's not a little bit higher up on the list, because I want to take recency bias into account. So, at number 4, Psycho Goreman from 2020. This is a horror comedy, a sci-fi horror comedy, excuse me. And it is hilarious. This movie is laugh out loud funny, like no matter how many times I watch it. So let's just pull up the page for that one. There we go. So this movie, it takes your average creature feature and it turns it on its head. If I could spell. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Goreman. What we got there? There it is. And I'm pretty sure I reviewed this too for Letterboxd when it first came out. Here it is. Oh, I didn't actually review it on Letterboxd. Okay, cool. So yeah, I watched it, but never actually reviewed it. Still, I'd give this one. Oh, excuse me. I'd give this one a large popcorn as well. So yeah, it came out 2020. Here's the synopsis. Siblings Mimi and Luke unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord. Using a magical amulet, they force the monster to obey their childish whims and accidentally attract the rogues gallery of intergalactic assassins to a small town suburbia. So basically, these 2 kids find this gem or something, and because of that, they're able to control this alien here. This is actually a cool poster. I love the hand-drawn animation. Sorry, illustration. Excuse me. I misspoke. So this one's available on Shudder. I thought so. I just wanted to double check that. Oh, and Plex. That's cool. In case you didn't know, Plex is another free streaming service, kind of like Tubi. I like it. They're good for having the older movies. Tubi is too. But anyways, let's talk about Psycho Goreman. Let me just pull up my notes. Where am I? Here we go. Excuse me. It was written and directed by Stephen Kostansky. Sorry if I butchered that. And where are we? Here we are. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him. Oh, do I have that picture? I do. Just give me 1 second. Didn't upload that one yet, but I do have it ready. Here we go. There he is. I met him at Fan Expo in Toronto in 2022. He's very nice in person. He's very laid back. You'd be surprised. A lot of people in the horror industry are actually really funny people too. So I'm glad I was able to have that chance. Thank you again, Horbuzz, for making that happen too. And then the rest of the casting crew include, if my phone stopped in, so here we go. It stars Anita Jones, Hannah. Oh, wait. Sorry if I butchered that. Owen Meyer and Matthew Nenabar. And this one was filmed in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, which is about 20 minutes away from Niagara Falls. So again, really close to home. Excuse me, I needed another drink. And the really good thing about this one is that blend of humor and horror. It's a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it really leans into that side of ridiculousness. And it's not afraid to go there. Like, I couldn't believe how gory this movie is, because it kind of comes off as a kid's movie, but the more you watch it, it gets darker and darker and more violent and more extreme. And I could not believe the kind of stuff that I was seeing. Like, he does this thing, it's called A Warrior's Death. It's like an alien thing, but he opens his mouth up and he swallows these people whole. And the way that they do it, it's all practical. Oh my God, it looks so good. So yeah, that's number 4. Highly recommend Psycho Goreman. There's other aliens too, and all these aliens are all, it kind of feels like a Power Rangers episode, because it's like people in full like body costumes and prosthetics, but it doesn't look cheesy or anything like that. The practical effects really outdo themselves here. The makeup artists, I mean. Yeah. Love Psycho Goreman. If you haven't seen that, highly recommend it. It's on Shudder. So, number 3. This one is an older movie. I didn't even know this was a Canadian movie until I was doing my research. So I happily added it to the list because it had to be on the list. So at number 3 is The Changeling from 1980. So let's go back to Letterboxd. Where's my screen? There it is. Aha, I got it. Oh, woohoo! That was my sad attempt at Homer there. So The Changeling. I'm not talking about the Angelina Jolie movie. No. Oh, wait, let's go back for a second. Because I forgot to mention that. These kids are hilarious. I had a picture. Hold on, come back. Oh, where'd the picture go? 1 moment, please. Okay, well, maybe I can get another picture. No, these are reviews. You can see other people love it too. You got 4.5 stars. You got 4 stars. Gorby Movies, a friend of mine. She's a fellow YouTuber. I follow her on Letterboxd too. Lee McCoy's Drum Dums. That's his YouTube channel. I don't know him personally, but I've heard he's nice. He's got great reviews too. See, 3.5, 4.5. Great reviews. Is that picture back yet? Yeah, there it is. Cool. Yeah, this little girl is so funny. She really commands the screen. And then her brother is kind of a pushover in the movie, but their dynamic and their chemistry is really what makes the movie. They're the heart of the film. A movie like this, if you don't cast the right child actors, it could make or break a movie. And you can see Psycho Goreman here. Yeah, I was hoping to find a picture of him. Love the prosthetics. See, it doesn't look cheesy or anything like that, but it kind of comes across as a Power Rangers villain, like the original 90s TV show. In a good way. That's a compliment. Love Psycho Goreman. Okay, back to number 3. Changeling. Let's go back in time to the 80s. I didn't spell that right, but that's okay. See, not this one from 2008. No. I'm talking about this one. The poster is gorgeous. I love movie posters. So I always try to show them off on my channel if I come across one that I just absolutely adore. Look at that poster. Gorgeous. Let's hide that. Can I make that bigger? Maybe not. Just take a minute to soak that in. Look at the imagery, the shadows. This is the kind of stuff that I'm learning how to do in school. The contrast between the red and the black. How the writing here is in red. Then you got the white of the chair. Again, contrast. You got 3 different color tones. They call that a triadic color scheme. So here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. Oh my God, stupid ads, go away. Okay. After tragic events happen, composer John Russell moves to Seattle to try to overcome it and build a new peaceful life in a lonely big house that he's been. Sorry, let me start over. After tragic events happen, composer John Russell moves to Seattle to try to overcome it and build a new and peaceful life in a lonely big house that has been uninhabited for many years. But soon after, the obscure history of such an old mansion and his own past begin to haunt him. Yeah, use take 2. That's the beauty of live TV, but the show must go on. So yeah, it says it takes place in Seattle, but this movie was actually filmed in... I just want to double check before I say it. Yeah, okay, yeah, cool. I was right. This one was filmed in Vancouver and Victoria, British Columbia. And again, this is personal for me because that's where I was born. So let's get back to me. Oh my God, so many windows. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, I gotta go over here. 1 second. Sorry, I had to stop my cat from doing something she's not supposed to be doing. Here we go. I'm back. All right, cool. So The Changeling was directed by Peter Medak, or Medak. Sorry if I butchered that. It was written by William Gray and Diana Maddox. It stars George C. Scott, Trish Van Devere, Marilyn Douglas, and John Colicos. Again, sorry if I butchered that. And this movie is probably most famous for the ball dropping down the staircase. But once you see the movie and you see the context behind the symbolism of the ball, it makes that scene even more creepy. That's the thing about this. It's really good at atmospheric tone. And movies like this were filmed so much differently back in the 80s. So they really take advantage of practical effects and playing with like camera perspectives, playing with lighting, playing with the shadows, all the good stuff. But given the subject matter, this movie is not for everyone. I mean, it involves dead children and being haunted by dead kids and stuff like that. But I don't want to say too much. This is all spoiler free. So yeah, that's The Changeling. Now, this next movie at number 2. This was actually a first time watch for me, and I'm embarrassed. As a cinephile, I never heard about this movie until I started doing my research and all my rewatches. Excuse me. So I ended up watching this with my sister yesterday. No, Thursday. And both of us, we were blown away by how good this movie was. It was so good, it shot to the close to the top of my list. So, at number 2 is Rabid from 1977. We're going back in time. So let's go back to Letterboxd. Here we go. And here we go. Now, I can't talk about Canadian cinema without talking about David Cronenberg, because he's such an iconic horror director, especially with body horror. Here it is. And when it's kind of funny, the first time I saw this the other day, I was thinking, wow, this is so good. I'm surprised they haven't tried to remake it. And then sure enough, 2019, they remade it. So I haven't seen that one. I can't really talk about that. But I do want to talk about this one because it's so original. It's so unique. And it's got that Cronenberg flair. Again, I'm embarrassed. I should have known about this movie. I don't know how it got past me. But anyways, here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. After undergoing radical surgery for injuries from a motorcycle accident, a young woman develops strange phallic growth on her body and a thirst for human blood, the only nourishment that will now sustain her. And look at this poster. It's so creepy. There's actually a scene from the movie, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, hey, there's the poster, because I was looking up the information for it. Once you get the context behind this, too, it makes it even creepier. So basically, this is kind of like a zombie movie. It's kind of like a vampire movie, but it has nothing to do with like either one of those. It actually is about a pandemic that this woman starts because she has... Oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the cast and crew first, shall we? It was written and directed by David Cronenberg, the master of body horror. He's got other great ones too, but this one just really stood out to me, so I had to mention it. I'll talk about the other ones a little bit more too in the honorable mentions section, but we'll get to that. This one stars Marilyn Chambers, Frank Moore, Joe Silver, and Howard Rishpan. Again, sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, Cronenberg was born in Toronto, born and raised. And this film takes place in... it was filmed in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Ontario's neighbor. I tried to get a mismatch of different provinces all over Canada, so it's not just focusing on one. But yeah, what I loved especially about this movie, Rabid, is how relatable and topical it is to how things are nowadays, especially what was going on in 2020. Because it talks about this virus that's going around town. It's talking about how the vaccines that they started up initially aren't really working, and how the people that have the vaccines are more susceptible to being infected, stuff like that. Doesn't this all sound a little familiar? I feel like I've lived through this before. But this came out in the 70s, so this was way ahead of its time. Now, granted, there has been other pandemics in the past before, but nothing like more recently. So I really like when movies from the past are still relevant today. It really says about that test of time that I keep talking about movies. So yeah. That's why I like Rabid and the gore. I could not believe how gore this got. This movie is insane. It's got some insane practical stuff too. Like there's like vans driving off of highway bridges and stuff like that. I couldn't believe some of the driving stunts that they did in this movie. In the beginning, there's this motorcycle accident, and the way it's filmed is amazing. People are set on fire. Like this is old school filmmaking at its best, in my opinion. That's why I thought this deserved the number 2 spot for my list. Love Rabid. If you haven't seen Rabid, I highly recommend it. I was going through different YouTube videos, watching David Cronenberg interviews, and I came across this one about Quentin Tarantino, his recommendations for Cronenberg, and I was like, oh, I got to see this. So I watched it, and this is one of the movies he talked about. Blew me away. Thank you, Quentin Tarantino. Thank you, David Cronenberg. Wow, Rabid. Again, I can't talk about the remake because I haven't seen it, but I highly recommend it. I watched this on Shudder. This is on Prime. So, oh wait, not that. Not yet. Okay, so before I get to my number 1 pick, I have a few honorable mentions. And once again, I'm trying to make the episodes a little bit shorter, so I'm not going to mention as many, and I'm not going to go in as depth as I used to. It's all about, working out how I want the format to be for the show. It's a learning process. So leave comments below if I missed anything. What's your favorite Canadian horror movie? The first one. Again, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this movie. Black Christmas, my first honorable mention from 1974. Don't watch any of the remakes. I've seen all the remakes, especially the 2019 one. That one is especially terrible. No. The original, 1974. Let's get to it. So let's go to Letterboxd. I love Letterboxd. Oh, look at that poster. And again, real quick about Rabid. Marilyn Chambers is phenomenal in this. Her performance really carries the film. You really believe that she's going through so much pain and anguish, and she can't really help it. But at the same time, she's not really aware of what's going on. She's pretty good at being oblivious and helpless at the same time. That versatility is amazing. I love when actors can do that. But anyways, let's talk about Black Christmas. I didn't rewatch this one because I've seen this one plenty of times. I'm familiar with it enough I can talk about it. Plus, I feel weird watching a Christmas movie in April. So I might cover it for like a Christmas in July thing, but maybe. We'll see. Down the road. Look at this poster. This is when they did hand-drawn posters. And I love the imagery here because at first it looks like it's Santa Claus sitting at a chair. But if you look closely, there's a bag over somebody's face. And again, you got different color schemes. You got the red contrasting the green against the black. You got the font here with the white and the black. You got this cute little scene here. The contrast, the scary scene. I love how it looks like a Christmas card too. That's a nice touch. I don't know if the designer was going for that, but I love it. So here is the synopsis. As the residents of Pi Kappa Sigma sorority house prepare for a festive season, a stranger begins to harass them with a series of obscene phone calls. So I didn't officially review it, but this is certainly a large popcorn movie. I'm just not as attached to it as other people are. But let's get into the cast and crew. It was directed by Bob Clark. It was written by Roy Moore, starring Olivia Hassey, Keir Dullea, sorry if I butchered that, and Margot Kidder. This one was filmed in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, too. And this one is considered one of the fathers or grandfathers, depending on how you put it, of slasher movies, because it predates Halloween by a few years. And I think it even predates Peeping Tom. Let me just see when that movie came out on my phone. Hold on. I don't know when Peeping Tom came out. Oh, that might have came out in the 60s, like 68, I want to guess. Peeping Tom. Oh, wow. Okay. 1960. Okay, so it doesn't predate Peeping Tom. Peeping Tom's also considered one of the fathers or grandfathers, depending on how you put it, how you want to put it, of slashers. But yeah, let's focus on the Canadian movie, 1974. So when I watched this when I was younger, I was shocked because this is one of the first like Christmas horror movies that I ever watched. Because if you're not a big fan of horror, you might not know that basically there's a horror movie for every holiday. You name the holiday, there's a horror movie for it. I mean, Valentine's Day this year, we had a horror movie come out, and that was really good too. So this is really good at including a lot of Christmas imagery and a lot of Christmas themes into the movie. Kind of like how Gremlins does it too. And it's got this dark humor to it. So that is Black Christmas. See a picture. I love the graininess too. I love movies that were filmed on film. These have a whole different vibe and a whole different feel to it. And this movie is dark. They really do a good job of making you think about Christmas differently. Even Terrifier. Terrifier 3 was a Christmas movie. I just thought of that. So next on my list of honorable mentions is Ginger Snaps. You know I had to have a werewolf movie on my list. I'm a sucker for a good werewolf movie. And this one's cool because it's a different take on the werewolf movie. Usually it's about a guy turning into a werewolf. This one's all about a girl. So it also works as a coming-of-age movie. My computer's being slow. Sorry, come on. There we go. So this one came out in 2000. And it's got a few sequels, but they're not as good. I don't think they live up to the original. I wouldn't really recommend those ones, but I would recommend this one. Again, I didn't officially review it, but I would give it like a medium to a large prop for it. It is really good. So here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. The story of excuse me. The story of two outcast sisters, Ginger and Bridget, in the mindless suburban town of Bailey Downs. On the night of Ginger's first period, she is savagely attacked by a wild creature. Ginger's wounds miraculously heal. But something is not quite right. Now, Bridget must save her sister and herself. Stupid ads. I can't even cancel this one. Oh, yes I can. Yeah, go away. Yeah, go away. Yeah, there we go. So look at the poster. Oh, wait. That's not the poster I was thinking. That was just like Photoshop. Hold on. No. Let's do this. IMDb for that one. Oh, I could have went to the tab. Hold on. Let's just do that. IMDb. No, wrong one. Okay, scrolling up. There we go. Maybe this one is a better poster. The one I used for the collage is definitely on this one. Yeah, here's the poster that I like. Too far. Here we go. Click. Oh, I can make it bigger on this one. Cool. So yeah, look at that. It's a photograph, but it's really cool what they do with the background. I like how it's written in blood. They don't call it a curse for nothing. That's funny. But yeah, like I said, it relates to puberty. It's like a coming of age tale. It's kind of like an R-rated version of like Turning Red. It's not exactly the same, but it's really good. I love a good werewolf movie. Good werewolf movies are hard to come by, too. The practical effects are really amazing in this. You can see 5 stars there, 4 stars, 4 stars, 3.5, 4. People love this movie. Oh, that 1, 2 stars. Someone didn't like it. I had trouble getting through this one. The score was driving me insane. Yeah, I can understand that. So that is Ginger Snaps, an unconventional modern werewolf movie. And let's get into the cast and crew. It was directed by John Fawcett. It was written by Karen Walton and John Fawcett. It stars Emily Perkins as Bridget, Catherine Isabel, and Chris Lemche? Chris Lemche. Yeah, sorry for butchered that. And this one was filmed in Brampton, Ontario, Canada, which is just outside of Toronto, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that is Ginger Snaps. The next honorable mention is Pontypool. I did not spell that correctly. Who cares? Let's go. Moving on. This one came out in 2008. I tend to like the posters on IMDb more, so let's go to that one real quick. Cancel. And Pontypool. And this one, oh, I put Pontypool, that's okay. This is a zombie movie, but kind of like Ginger Snaps, it's an unconventional take on it. And it goes in unexpected directions, and it's not your average zombie movie. I mean, the whole movie takes place in one location primarily. It takes place in this radio station. Yeah, here's the poster I used for the collage. The collage is the thumbnail for the video. Here we go. I love that poster. And once you see the movie, it makes sense, too, why they chose this specific shot. You got the font here. You got the photograph pressed up against the glass. Cronenbergian. I like that. That's cool. It is. The practical effects makeup is so good in this. This movie is really creepy when it comes to that. The kind of makeup that's hard to look at. The zombies are so gross looking, and the way the zombies get infected is so different. But I don't want to say too much. So let's just get to the synopsis, shall we? The slogan makes more sense after you see the movie too, but I don't want to say too much. Spoiler free after all. So here's the synopsis. One disc jockey, Grant Maisie, reports to his basement radio station in the Canadian town of Pontypool. He thinks it's just another day at work. But when he hears reports of a virus that turns people into zombies, Maisie barricades himself in the radio booth and tries to figure out a way to warn his listeners about the virus and its unlikely mode of transmission. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Even in the description, it tells you it's very different from your average thing. The performances in this are great too. So let's get into the cast and crew, shall we? No. Okay. Back up a little bit. Here we go. So Pontypool was directed by Bruce McDonald. It's written by Tony Burgess, and it stars Stephen Matati. He plays Grant Maisie. Sorry if I butchered that. Sorry, McHattie. Yeah, that's how you say that. McHattie. Yeah, cool. Stephen McHattie. He is phenomenal as he carries the movie because it's him talking and it's his perspective. And a lot of it is what he hears from people calling into the radio station. So he doesn't actually look outside or anything like that. There's no windows. So you have to go by what you're told. And that's what makes it really interesting because it's filmed all in one location. but it's mostly hearsay what other people are saying. So you're not really sure what to believe and who to believe or how much of what you're hearing is true. Because people tend to lie, right? That's just human nature. So it's really interesting about the way it handles the zombies too. And it was filmed in Brampton. I think I said that. I just want to make sure. No, sorry, that was Ginger Snaps. This one, Pontypool. Pontypool also stars Lisa Howley. Howler? Sorry if I butchered that. And Regina Riley. This one was filmed in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Good old T.O. So that is Pontypool. Let's see. Is there any comments in the comment section? Yeah, this one. Oh, wait, that's weird. Let me get rid of that. Hold on. Whoa, that was weird. Okay. Sorry about that. Can I move this? I don't know how to move that over. I'm still learning how to do stuff on here. I'm just happy I got the screen share to work. It makes it so much easier. I was kind of struggling with those first few episodes. But Beth says, that one sounds good. We'll have to watch it. Yeah. Love Pontypool. So if you love zombie movies, I highly recommend that one. So let's move on to the next honorable mention, shall we? The next one is another more recent movie. And I was assigned to review it for Horror Buzz originally. So again, thank you, Horror Buzz, for making that happen. And then after I did the review, the directors actually contacted me and they complimented me for reviewing the movie. And they sent me a copy of it, like a Blu-ray. So thank you to the makers of Underneath for making that happen. Oh, wait, it helps if I do the whole title because none of those are the movie. Hold on. It's called Underneath, an Anthology of Terror. So I actually interviewed these directors on my channel. If you're interested, you could watch that too. Oh, come on. Underneath. I know it's there. I got my review on Letterboxd. And they shared it on their feeds on Twitter and Instagram. So kudos to them. An anthology of oh, that's why I put of twice. Silly me. Let's fix that. Okay, here we go. There it is. And this did really well at a lot of different film festivals. Let's take a look at this poster. Yeah, gorgeous poster. It's got acclaim from several different places. Look at all those. There's like 7 of them. So just like the title suggests, this is an anthology movie. I don't usually go for these kinds of movies. So if you like movies like the VHS series or like the ABCs of Death or even like Red Book Ritual, stuff like that, then you'd like this. So here's the synopsis. Underneath is a grassroots self-financed anthology in the vein of Creepshow and is comprised of 5 chapters, an epilogue, and several mind-bending vignettes that are all bound together by something unnatural and sinister. And this is the kind of movie, the less I say about the different stories and the plot, the better. But I can give you a little rundown of it. But let's get into the cast and crew first before I get into too involved in this talking about the plot. Because even though the stories are separate, they are kind of connected in some way. But yeah, this one was directed by Andre Becker, Corey Ivanchuk, and John Nickel. The 2 that I know are Andre Becker and John Nickel. I actually had the chance to meet them in person when I went to Horrorama Horror-Rama in Toronto. It's like a film festival there. So where am I? Here I am, sort of. Aha, here I am. So I don't think I have a picture of that. But yeah, that is underneath. It's a really good movie. I like the way it's shot. It's shot by different directors, so each one has a different feel to it when you get to the different segments. Love Underneath. Great movie. So the next honorable mention, let's go back to Letterboxd. I just have a few more here. We'll keep this brief. I've been going for about an hour 20 so far. I'll kind of speed things up a little bit here. So the next one, I didn't even know this was a Canadian movie until I did my research. So that really surprised me. It's the original My Bloody Valentine. They did do a remake, but it's not as good. I'd stick with the original. I usually do when it comes to stuff like this. Love the poster too. Great. Good contrast, good colors. I like how the O's kind of connect there. Creepy mask. And again, this is another holiday horror movie. Here's the synopsis. 20 years after Valentine's Day tragedy claimed the lives of 5 minors, Harvey Warden returns for a vengeful massacre among teen sweethearts gearing up for another party. This one was written and directed by Jeff Barnaby. It stars Michael Greyeyes, Ellie Maja. Sorry if I butchered that. Sorry. Ellie is played by Maja Tailfeathers. And it's also got Forrest Goodluck. This one was filmed in Listugouji, Quebec, Canada. So I'm not quite sure where that is, but it was filmed in Quebec. So yay. So this is just a classic slasher, and practical effects are the way to go. It's got some really creative kills. Love this movie. Moving on. The next honorable mention is another unconventional zombie movie. It's called Blood Quantum. This came out in 2019. Here's the synopsis. The dead are coming back to life outside the isolated Meekop-Mock Reserve of Red Crow, except for its indigenous inhabitants who are strangely immune to the zombie plague. So that's why it's interesting. Because of the way that it presents the script and the story. So here's the cast and crew. Look at that poster too. Hold on, I'll zoom in on that. Gorgeous. It was directed. Oh wait. Oh geez, I'm sorry. The ones I said before was for Blood Quantum. Jeff Barnaby wrote and directed it. Then it stars Michael Greyeyes, Maja Tailfeathers, and Forrest Goodluck. Okay, that makes more sense. I screwed that up. And yeah, Listugouji, Quebec, Canada. Sorry, I screwed that up. Back up. Take 2. Can I just go back? Yeah. My Bloody Valentine. Let's get that cast and crew right. Sorry. I thought that sounded funny. Okay, My Bloody Valentine was directed by George Mahalka, and it was written by Stephen Miller and John Beard. It stars Paul Kalman, Sarah Hallier, and Neil Affleck. This one was filmed in Sydney Mines, Nova Scotia. So it was filmed out east. Sorry, I had to correct myself there. And then I talked about Blood Quantum, so let's move on to the next one. The next one's a more recent film too, and it's also from Black Fawn Distribution. Oh wait, I typed that wrong. It's called Vicious Fun. This is a horror comedy, which is the premise alone made me laugh out loud. So I had to watch it after reading the description, because this is on Shudder. Here it is. Joel, a caustic 80s film critic for a national horror magazine, finds himself unwittingly trapped in a self-help group for serial killers. With no other choice, Joel attempts to blend in with his homicidal surroundings or risk becoming the next victim. Go away, stupid ad. So yeah, this was the first time watch for me. And this movie is hilarious. I can't believe how over the top the gore is, and the cast is exceptional. So, cast and crew, directed by Cody Callahan, is written by James Villeneuve and Cody Callahan. It stars Evan Marsh, Amber Goldfarb, sorry if I butchered that, and Ari Mellon. And this one was filmed in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So yeah, this one's got a great story. That's what I love about this one. The comedy, the story, and the balance of the horror. Love Vicious Fun. I mean, we're talking laugh out loud funny. I watched this with my sister, and she liked it too. Let's go see if she has anything to say in the comments real quick before moving on. Oh, we're on tab. Aha, tab. No comments. Okay, cool. Moving on. Just added a few more to mention. The next one is from David Cronenberg's son. It's called Possessor. This came out in 2020. Again, gorgeous poster. Just give it a second. My computer's being slow tonight for some reason. There it is. Very creepy. I like how the S's are turned around. That's cool. Here's the synopsis. Taja Voss, an elite corporate assassin, uses brain implant technology to take control of other people's bodies to terminate high-profile targets. As she sinks deeper into her latest assignment, Voss becomes trapped inside the mind that threatens to obliterate her. So, very impressive work from the son of the horror legend, David Cronenberg. Love Possessor. Highly recommend it. This is also on Shudder if you want to watch it. This is one of the less I say about it, the better. Because what an experience. Wow. Moving on. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's get into cast and crew first. Sorry. I'm going a little too quick. It was written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. It stars Andrea Riseborough. Sorry if I butchered that. Let's go back down to the poster. Yeah. It's got Christopher Abbott and Jennifer Jason Leigh. This one was filmed in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And then the next few, actually the rest of them, are all about David Cronenberg. So what I'll do is I'll just type his name in here. And we'll run through these real quick. These are classic movies. And I couldn't really decide at first until I saw Rabid. And then I knew that had to take the number 2 spot for sure. Because there is one movie that more than that. Wow, 44 frames. He's got so many great movies. The ones I want to talk about are The Fly, Videodrome, Dead Ringers, and Scanners. These are all great science fiction body horror movies. So I'll just keep these posters up. There he is, David Cronenberg. I could do a whole episode on him. But anyways, Oh, wait. I want to talk about one other one, too. Where's that one? It's called The Brood. Where's that poster? It's such a cool poster, too. Okay, hang on. Gotta show you the poster for this one. I even included it in the collage that I did for the thumbnail. This was 1979. Again, I'm embarrassed. I haven't heard about this one. That's not the poster that I like. Let's get the good poster. Brood. And this movie is really original with us when it comes to story. But this one is gross. I gotta warn you, this movie is not for the faint of heart. I couldn't believe the lengths that this goes to for the gore. Here's the poster I like. I always prefer illustrated posters. Yeah, look how creepy that is. Okay. So this one was written and directed by Cronenberg. Stars Oliver Reed, Samantha Egger, and Art Hindle. It was filmed in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Sorry. Let's go back. And again, this one's not for everyone because it involves like pregnancy and involves kids in peril. It's not for the faint of heart. Like they probably couldn't remake a movie like this today. I'd be very surprised. But yeah, I highly recommend The Brood. And then let's go back. Wait. Back to Letterboxd. There we go. Sorry about that. And let's go back again. And these other ones, they're more well known. But they are Canadian movies. So I'll just do a quick rundown of these ones real quick. The Fly came out in 1986. It was directed by David Cronenberg, obviously. Written by George Lanclane, Charles Edward Pogg, and Cronenberg. Sorry if I butchered those names. The Fly stars Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, and John Getz. And it was filmed in Toronto. Videodrome is from 1983. Hold on, I'll move my mouse a little further down. There you go. Actually, I'll click on this real quick just so you can see it a little better. Here's The Fly. Classic science fiction. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. Here's Videodrome. This one's very unique, but not for everyone. This one's gross too. Most of his movies are gross, so if you can't handle body horror, why are you watching the channel? Written and directed by David Cronenberg, this one stars James Woods, Debbie Harry, and Sonia Smith. Also filmed in Toronto. It's a very psychedelic movie. It's a head trip. The next one is Dead Ringers. This is Jeremy Irons. Love Jeremy Irons. Written and directed by Cronenberg. Also starring, aside from Jeremy Irons, is the actors are missing in my notes here for this one. So 1 second, I can find that out. Yeah, Jeremy Irons. It's got Genevieve Bohuld. Sorry about that. Heidi Von Poleske and Barbara Gordon, Shirley Douglas, Stephen Lack. There you go. And this one was also filmed in Toronto. Highly recommended. And the final honorable mention is, see, I mentioned The Brood, I mentioned Videodrome, Dead Ringers, The Fly, and Scanners. So I love this poster. I gotta show this poster off. This is a great poster. So good. Just take a second to take that in. I did a little segment for I presented the best movie poster last year for 2023, the Oscars, and this is one I had to include. So Scanners was written and directed by Cronenberg again. Stars Jennifer O'Neill, Stephen Lack, Patrick McGowan, sorry if I butchered that, and Lawrence Dane. Oh, and Michael Ironside plays the villain. He's so good in this. This was filmed in Montreal. So that is it for my honorable mentions. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. My number one pick for best Canadian horror movie. Drum roll, please. Grave Encounters. The second. Oh, wait, hold on. We got some comments here. Sabrina says you went past it. I'm not sure what that means. And Sabrina agrees. Yeah, The Fly was so gross. Yeah. We got body parts falling off, fingernail stuff, puking, skin coming off. You name it, it's in there. I think that was my introduction to Jeff Goldblum, too, before Jurassic Park. But anyways, let's get to my number one pick, because it's already been an hour and a half. I've been talking for a long time. Let's wrap this up. The second I heard the premise for this movie, I fell in love with it. Grave Encounters. There is a sequel, but it's not as good. I don't like the sequel. But this one, I highly recommend. Look at that poster. Once you see the movie, too, this makes a lot more sense, the context. But it's very subtle. Sometimes less is more, and I love that. Oh, yeah, I just noticed a little person back there. That's cool, the ghost. Okay. So here's the synopsis according to Letterboxd. This came out in 2011. A crew from a paranormal reality television show lock themselves in a haunted psychiatric hospital. They search for evidence of paranormal activity as they shoot what ends up becoming their final episode. So yeah, basically, there's a group of paranormal investigators who are total frauds. And basically, they go to these different places and they don't get the footage that they're looking for, that they were hoping for. So they end up faking a lot of stuff, and they become famous because of the footage that they get. But then they go to this place, the psychiatric hospital, and it's actually haunted, quote unquote. And this movie's cool because of the way it's filmed. It's a found footage movie, so it really adds to the groundedness of how this could actually happen. Because could you imagine if you were watching an episode of a show like this, and then something like this happened? Like, oh my God, that'd be so horrifying for the editor. And this is your unconventional haunted house movie. Not just because the way it was filmed, but because of how the story goes too. Because when they get trapped in here, it stays constant darkness. They get kind of trapped in time when they get trapped inside this hospital, this insane asylum. So let's get into the cast and crew a little bit. It was written and directed by the Vicious Brothers, who are Colin Minahan and Stuart Ortiz. My mistake. They wrote it too. It stars Sean Rogenson, Ashley Gritzo, Mackenzie Gray, Juan Redinger, sorry if I butchered that, and Merwin Possessor. This was filmed just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. So the way this movie is presented, it's really cool because it starts with little instances and then it gradually builds to stuff that's just completely unexplainable. Because first things are logical, wind blows, doors shut, lights flicker because it's an old building. But then things start to get really weird. And the gore in this is unbelievable. I love the gore in this. There's this one scene, again, this is all spoiler free, but there's this one scene where this guy he falls into a bathtub, and then all of a sudden the bathtub turns into blood, and then they pour the bathtub out and he's gone. He's not there, and they don't really end up finding out what happened to him. That's what happens. As the movie goes on, the crew gets smaller and smaller and diminishes, and then finally it's left down to like a few people. And whether he gets out or not, I'm not going to say, because this movie is so good. I can't get enough of Grave Encounters. When I first came across this movie, because every year I have a list of certain movies that I watch around the spooky season for Halloween, and this was put on the list. And then, because that was the first time I saw this was like 2020. I don't know how this movie got past me. Well, I don't usually tend to go for found footage movies, so it's like what I was saying with exorcism movies. If I can find one that impresses me, then that says a lot about the movie. So that's why I love Grave Encounters. Great horror elements, great special effects. It's mostly practical. There is a few CGI things, but it's not overly done. Like, you kind of worry about CGI being in a found footage movie, but it works here. Especially, there's one scene in the preview where the ghost turns around and she opens her mouth up and she goes all wide-eyed. It's really creepy how they do it. I love the special effects in this. Great special effects, great gore, great story, great directing, all around. Bravo. I'd give this one like an extra large popcorn because that's how much it impressed me. We have a comment here. So yeah, that's why Grave Encounters is my number one. Highly recommend Grave Encounters. It's on Shudder. We have a comment here. I remember watching The Fly when I was in my early teens, and it scared the daylights out of me, but I think Jeff Goldblum did a great job in that movie. Absolutely agree. So, quick recap. At number 5. Oh, excuse me. Number 5 was In a Violent Nature. Number 4, Psycho Goreman. Number 3, The Changeling. Number 2, Rabid. And number 1, Grave Encounters. It's a very different kind of found footage movie. And it's a great idea for a movie. It's such a good concept. And of course, it feeds. I gave a large popcorn. So, do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? Did I miss any classic Canadian horror movies? Like, yeah, I know James Cameron's Canadian too, but he's not really known for his horror movies. And I don't think anybody thinks that Piranha 2 is a great movie. I mean, it wasn't even filmed in Canada. So it didn't really count, didn't really fit my criteria. So sorry, James Cameron, maybe I'll do an episode about you because I do respect you as a filmmaker. You just didn't quite qualify for this list. So I'll just check the comments one more time, see if there's anyone. No comments. Okay. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. I'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Sabrina likes In a Violent Nature too. Yeah. Highly recommended. And I will see you next week. Have a good night.
Until next time.
I'll see you at the movies.
Have a great day. Did you know that I'm a film critic for HorrorBuzz.com? You can read my reviews on their website, and I make frequent appearances on their YouTube channel, HorrorBuzz Live. So I'll leave links below for that.
Oh, Canada. Sorry, I had to. Good night, everybody.